Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Opinion Machine, the show where we talk about all things gaming. My name is Killjoy, and today I want to talk about next gen, and a topic I've seen a few people talk about online, about whether next gen should be delayed until next year. And I've got to be honest, I think this is just a discussion that is very much worth having right now, with the way that things are kind of lining up for both of these systems. Now, while I would never have bought one of these on launch, probably because of the price, I was very curious about seeing, end of the year, how they're going to stack up against each other, and how well these systems were going to do during a time where there's a little bit of uncertainty with things going on. And things just haven't really lined up, especially for Microsoft, losing Halo. Not they're being honest. In the long run, it's probably a good thing. It means that Halo Infinite will be a much better game from this delay. But we don't really know what other things are coming out during that launch window, if you like. So there's a few main factors that I think are what's going to really make this launch one of the weirdest and possibly one of the worst launches for this system. It's not to say that they won't sell, but they're never going to hit the numbers they could potentially get, because I've got a feeling there just won't be enough systems to sell during that period. So there's three factors I think that everyone can agree on that are definitely going to play into this. Firstly, the cost of these machines. In the UK, they're probably going to be £400 or $450. I don't think they're going to be more expensive than that. In America, it sounds like they're going to be $500 to $600 potentially. But let's say that they're £350 to £400 here, which, that's still a lot of money. The UK is still dealing with the pandemic, as well as America. It seems to be even more of a problem over there, but a lot of people aren't going to be thinking about luxury items so much during the holiday. I mean, people are definitely going to buy these systems if they launch this year, but I think some people are going to realise that Christmas this year, that time of year, is going to be tough. We don't know how well the economy is going to be going over here as of yet. I mean, it's obviously trying to get back on track. We don't know how many people are, employed again. People getting money in, furlough has helped for sure. But these are an expensive investment to pieces of hardware that really aren't that important to the grand scheme of things that's going on right now. And I do think this is one of the fact that they're the cost of them versus the way the world is right now. I think this is going to be the thing that really shoots both these systems in the foot. Because people are gonna buy these. They're easily gonna make $1 million in a day, no doubt. But the drop off is gonna be so huge. We're talking worse than Wii shortage kind of thing. That's what I feel like is what's gonna be the problem here. They're gonna launch end of November probably. You'll be able to get them for about a week, and then that'll be it. And then they might come back in a week before Christmas, and then you probably won't be able to get them until February or something crazy like that. I'm really predicting it to be very difficult to get hold of either of these systems. Microsoft have come out and said that they're in the past that they're not worried about that. They reckon they've got enough stock in, and that may be the case. But it's still £500 on one present plus what, 50-60 quid game. That's a hell of a spend, for somebody for Christmas. Obviously more adults are likely to buy these for themselves because they can, and people will buy them. There's no doubt that they're going to sell well. But I do think the drop-off is going to be severe because of the pricing and because of this year. I just don't see... I'm not expecting the economy, a lot of places and shops and other companies, making a huge amount of money at Christmas. I think they're less likely because right now people are being more cautious with their money. Simple as that. People don't want to go too crazy because, who knows if this country has to go into lockdown again, So we'll see. We'll see if the cost... I think the cost is the biggest factor. I do think the cost is going to be the thing that really shoots these things in the foot. Even with stock shortages, which is the next topic we should get onto. Stock shortages are going to happen. And we know Sony's come out and said that, it's going to be difficult to get them. Microsoft apparently said that it's going to be alright, but getting hold of these things is going to be impossible. So even if people aren't put off by the price and people do then go out and buy them, getting hold of these systems specifically, like I said, you're going to find them for about a week, if that. I imagine it'll probably be pre-orders and then maybe one or two in shops. Like most places in this country, it's going to be what, Game, and then probably places like the supermarkets, and that's it, and Amazon and places online. I think a lot of places that may consider selling these are not going to get any stock. Like, it's just not going to happen. Even with Microsoft coming out and saying, hey, we got plenty for this, we got enough that we want to be able to sell and push the launch. But it's going to be tough. I am going to be very curious as to if this is a Wii kind of thing, where it's like, if you didn't pre-order, you ain't getting one for about a month. You know, that kind of thing. I was very lucky to get my Wii. I pre-ordered in Woolworths back in the day, so that was nobody else seemed to do it, so that was good. But yeah, I think this the cost. If people aren't buying them, then you're gonna have and then also there's a shortage. So it's kind of weird because they don't really work out. Either people are buying them and they're not there, or there's a shortage and people can't buy them. I do think it's two factors. Some people will be put off by the cost and definitely not be thinking about buying this kind of expensive system this year for Christmas. Probably next year, more likely. And the other thing is that people that are buying them means that other people won't be able to get hold of them. So it's kind of this weird thing. Both these things put together, they're like opposite. It means that they are selling versus they aren't selling. But if you think about it, the people that are buying it will be the people that pre-order it. The people that are deciding to wait aren't going to buy it, so what you're going to see is either all the stock sells out like instantly, or they just don't. The numbers day after day one or after a weekend, those numbers aren't going to be as high as they have predicted, because one of those two things is going to happen. It's going to be, oh, we've sold all our stock, see you in about 2 months time, or it'll be, oh, we've still got stock left and we've not even hit 1 million sales in the first like weekend or something, which I don't think is going to happen. I think what's going to happen is they're going to sell out and the cost will be less of a factor, even though I think it's going to be a factor. I think it'll be less of a factor, and then you're going to see this shortage. Honestly, like, I wouldn't be spending this kind of money at Christmas or that sort of time to get it's just too much money. Just to, I'd rather be a little bit more on the safe side until we get into the new year and things. But yeah, otherwise no one's going to be able to get hold of them. Like, it'll be the people that have excess income that can pick up maybe they'll get some from their friends. Who knows how it's going to work, but you're going to have parents looking for stuff for kids probably going, nah, I'm not going to buy you that, we'll get you the older models that are cheaper potentially, and then people that do want one, like who are trying to do it for like I just want a new system, or people that do like YouTube or streamers and stuff probably won't be able to get hold of one. So it'll be interesting to see which way this goes and in which direction. And then lastly, it comes down to the lineups. Now, when I look back at lineups, like, not every system has an amazing lineup. I do think the Switch lineup was actually pretty good. And a lot of people look back and go, eh? But if you look at the first year of the Switch, there was basically a big game every month. And as time went on, more smaller stuff came out, and it turned out to be a fairly good launch year, I'm going to say, because in that first year we got Mario Odyssey and we got Zelda, but there was other things that launched. There was that Street Fighter collection, there was the Bomberman game, there was a bunch of indie games. Like, I'm not going to say the Switch lineup launch lineup was perfect or anything, but it was a really good set of games with a really heavy hitter. Now we know that Sony are going to have Spider-Man, or so they say. They're going to have Spider-Man there, and we know that Microsoft have lost Halo. So my thought into this is, if these consoles were delayed, and let's say until March next year, what you're doing then is those games that were meant to come out between, let's say, November and December, and anything that was coming out January, February, if you put a lot of that into March, April, May, holy hell, have you got a good launch, like, first 3 months. That'd be insane. So, they both come out, let's say they both come out in March, sometime in the middle of March. Spider-Man's there, maybe Demon's Souls is there, and then maybe the next month you got Ratchet and Clank. I mean, that's a bloody good lineup for Sony, really. With Microsoft, say, I don't know, let's say Halo gets delayed till March. I don't know when Halo's coming out. It's probably going to be a lot longer than that. Halo comes out, and then maybe they have, I don't know, Forza, and then maybe they have, I forgot what other exclusives they've got. That's the problem. Maybe something else comes out in the month later. Plus Cyberpunk's now on these machines. I would say that's pretty bloody good. Because then also what you can do is you can pad a lot of that out with indie games. Like, indie developers are going to make games for both these systems. If you can put a lot more... I know you don't want to overflow it, but let's say at launch you've got 50 indie games ready to go. Like, maybe you do 10, the next week 10, the next week 10, that you do like the next 4 weeks. Launch week this 10, next week this, you know, good, I mean, talking good indie games. I'm not talking like shovelware and crap, right? I'm talking like, here's a bunch, for the next few weeks, you've got the big hitters, and here's a bunch of indie games coming as well. You know, and obviously Microsoft do have Game Pass that will probably be ready to go day one with this machine. I honestly think if that was the case, and they put both these systems and delayed it until like March next year, yeah, that must be a big, massive shot in the foot for both these companies. But holy hell, the games that would be available there, or should be available there because they've had extra time, the ones that are finished are ready to go. You can set up like March, April, May. You can have the best 3 months of a beginning to any launch ever. Like right now, the Switch had, you know, it had Zelda, and it had Mario Kart Deluxe, and it had ARMS, and then Mario later on in the year, and there was something else that came out there, Splatoon 2. That's a big chunk of months. We got a bunch of good games, and then third party in the middle of that. Microsoft and Sony could potentially have even better launch windows if those systems were coming out in March next year. I'd be like, you know, you've got time to get more stock in. You've got time to have all more games developed and finished, and then you can plan it out beautifully. And that would be awesome. That'd be really awesome for the people buying those systems who want to spend money. Because sometimes you get stuck with a system and you only have 1 or 2 games for a while, and you're like, you don't have to have that problem. Now you can have a big window, go, right, these are the games, everything's dated. You know, this is coming out March 20th, this is coming out in May the 3rd or whatever. You know, like, they can literally be like, bam, 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 here's your first 3 months of these systems. And that would be competitive as all hell. You imagine that? Sony's got like, these are our big 3 games, bang, 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 these months, and Microsoft's going, yeah, we've got Halo and Forza and whatever the other thing is. You know, like, I can never remember what, like, not Gears, but something. Some big hitter, some new first party or whatever. That'd be crazy. That would be amazing. But unfortunately, like, that's not going to be the case. These systems are going to come out at the end of this year. I believe, with these factors in mind, like giving it another 5 months or so, another 6 months after they're meant to come out, oh man, you could have some incredible launch out. They're not going to do it because they know they can still make money for this time of year. They're still going to make money on probably other Xboxes as well and things like that. But just think of that. Just think of how good those launches could be. Those are the big 3 factors, right? We've got the economy, kind of like the cost of things at the moment. We've got the fact that, you know, there are going to be shortages, and then we've got the lineups and stuff. Honestly, most of the time buying consoles at launch is always a bad idea anyway, realistically. Like, buying a Nintendo Switch now is better than buying one in June 2017. The reason for that is you've got a huge amount of games there, of like, just like 10 out of 10 quality kind of games that, you know, for you to play. Like, it's the same with these systems. Like, I don't have a PlayStation 4 and I don't have an Xbox One. Like, me buying those now is much smarter than it was at launch. Unfortunately, too many people don't like that mentality. They want to buy the systems, they want to play those games day and date, you know, which is understandable. I'm the same, that's why I had a Switch. But, like, I know that's not a smart business decision on my half, like, buying those consoles early, and especially now. And this is the thing I think people need to be aware of. If you're going to buy these systems at launch now, prepare for a very slow trickle of games for a little bit, and, you know, just expect there isn't going to be much there to start with. They're going to have a couple of games, and most of it's going to rely on probably third party and indie anyway, because first party stuff is why you want to buy these systems, really. You know, people are going to buy Sony's console because they want to play the new Ratchet and Clank. They're going to buy Microsoft's console because they want to play Halo, Forza. You know, these consoles have these exclusives that people love, but we'll see how few and far between they are. But overall, my thoughts are, yes, they should be delaying these until next year. I think putting it in March and having a really strong lineup for the first 3 months would be amazing. Not going to happen, but I do think, yeah, delay it till March next year. Have more things in place, and, you know, hopefully people have more money at that point. Who knows? So we'll see. But that's my thoughts on the whole subject. Thank you very much for watching, as always. I hope you enjoyed this video, this discussion. This is something that I think is worth talking about. Obviously, if you like it, hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, and hit subscribe. The links for Facebook and Twitter will be down below in the description, as always. And until next video, I will see you then.